Right. So, hello, everybody. I welcome you to this webinar, which is a part of Inside IAM's International Women's Day campaign, hashtag Celebrating Her. Inside IAM aims to celebrate the success, failure, courage, dynamism, vision, and dreams of every woman. We aspire to stir up conversations, bust myths, and shake the conventional boundaries through this campaign. And I truly hope that each one of us takes away something by the end of this webinar. To introduce a little bit about myself, I am Arya Ramakrishna. I graduated from Sri Ram College of Commerce, Delhi University. Post this, I worked with KPMG and Flipkart for 3 years. Currently, I'm pursuing my MBA from IIM Kozhikode, and I will be your host for the day. I take immense pleasure in sharing with you that in today's webinar, we have 3 charismatic, bold, fearless, well, I could go on and on with a list of adjectives, but dynamic women entrepreneurs who will be taking us through their journeys of how they made it big. Well, unfortunately, Miss Smriti Tomar, founder and CEO at Stack, misses out since she's under the weather. We have today Meetu Samarja, CEO of Eminence Strategy Consulting, Deepa Nagarajan, founder and chief consultant at OKR League and a best-selling author, and Monica Bindra, founder, CEO, and entrepreneur at Leica. Thank you, ma'am, for taking the time out to have a conversation with us today. Well, why don't you introduce yourselves and walk us through your entrepreneurial journeys? And we can probably start with Neetu, ma'am.
Sure. Thank you, Arya. And thank you, Inside IAM, for this opportunity. I run a strategy consulting company focused on reputation, and it's called Eminence Strategy. Before starting this company about 7 years ago, I have worked with a variety of organizations, largely in the financial services space. So I was heading brand and communication for India's largest rating agency, CRISIL, and for the world's largest credit rating agency, Standard & Poor's, as well in the region. So after having worked for about 15 years, I thought it might be a good idea to start something of my own. I'll give you more details about what led that decision, etc., when we get into the conversation. In addition to being an entrepreneur, I'm an independent director on a couple of boards. So that kind of gives us a lot of exposure. And additionally, I have worked very closely with CII on their 100 Hours of Change, which is an initiative where they mentored and coached more than 100 women on how to stay in the work pipeline. So that's something which we take a lot of pride in. And this is the whole cause I quite strongly believe in. We'll discuss more details as we go ahead.
Definitely, ma'am. Thank you. Deepa, ma'am, you can go next.
Thanks a lot, Arya. Great initiative by Inside IIM, and happy to be a part of this, this discussion. I'm a business consultant. I do specifically OKR consulting. I was in the corporate for about 24 or 25 years with organizations like IBM, HP, Samsung. Samsung was my last job in the corporate world, after which I decided to do something on my own. So I started my entrepreneurial journey in 2016, and actually there's been no looking back. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I run several businesses. One is the consulting business. I also am an angel investor in a couple of startups. I also teach. I'm a professor. I teach in XLRI, and I also have taught at NMIMS on topics like OKR strategy and innovation, brand management, and diversity management as well. I also wrote a book on women leadership in 2017, which went on to become the #1 bestseller on Amazon. It's been a very interesting journey. It's been difficult. It's been exhilarating. I will share more details as we go through this conversation on how all this happened and how there are a lot of myths around what an entrepreneurial journey is all about and how we need to come out of those myths to actually taste success. So I'll share more insights as we go through this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. All right. Monica, ma'am, you can go ahead.
Yeah, hi Arya, and thank you so much for this opportunity here. And I'm very glad to be a part of this session today. I'm founder at Leica, and I'm a chemical engineer from Bitspilani. I always had an entrepreneurial bug in me, but for the past 20 years, I've been working as a market researcher with various corporates, especially Asia Market Intelligence based in Singapore. But since there were some few things which spoke me all the time, I really wanted to do something very meaningful for women, and hence I started my baby steps towards Leica. And of course, as we go further during the session, I'll discover more and more and let you know more about my journey.
Sure. Thank you so much, ma'am. Well, of course, your journeys have been difficult, exhilarating, as Deepa ma'am mentioned. But when you started out, what were the initial challenges that you'd come across? Of course, there's the whole idea generation aspect of it. There's finances, support from family and friends, and the very drive of keeping at it when things get tough. So what were the challenges and how did you manage it?
I hope your question is to me, Arya.
Yeah, all three of you, you can definitely pitch in.
So why don't you decide the order? How do we go about it?
Monica, ma'am, you can start.
So as we all know, we're all entrepreneurs here, and it's like working around the clock. And it's like you are always there available, and initial challenges are tremendous. First and the foremost in my case was to begin the conversation around periods itself, because periods in our society was always stigmatized until now. In fact, we are getting there, but still there's lots to be done in this field. So when I started this and approached corporates for sessions, come there and talk about it, there was a reluctance from the society. But I'm happy wherever we are today, things are getting better and improved. And my mission is to just create a very period positive society. And I hope we can create a difference in the world by taking our steps. And other challenge which any entrepreneur faces is always about creating a right team for your own startups. Finding right people who connect with you with the same passion and who can take you forward is the biggest thing. Another thing for me was like when we tried to enter the retailer space, there were huge margin cuts there and issues of cash crunches. So these were the few challenges which I faced.
Right. That's truly inspiring, ma'am. All right. Meetu ma'am or Deepa ma'am, would you want to pitch in?
Meetu, you can go.
I was just about to say, why don't you go first? But never mind. I'll start first. Before I even talk about challenges, I want to first and foremost compliment you, Monica, for doing something so different, so nice, and so very important for us. So what we all are doing is very strategy and very, overall, bringing in some kind of a change in the way corporate India functions. But what you're doing is very, very revolutionary. It is changing the way our day-to-day life functions. And I think that's something quite, it really worth a lot of compliment. And talking about challenges, I think challenges are a part of anything that you do. And honestly, the way I look at life is solution more than challenges, because they keep coming and going. What makes you stay in the game is how you found solution to those challenges. So like Monica was outlining team, it always is a problem to find somebody who would believe in your vision, who would believe in the cause that you're trying to drive, and then be a part of it and stick to it. There are two aspects, right? Finding the right talent and then retaining them as well. But then two things again happened on that count, that we've managed to grow the team, which is very, very handpicked, and I would say that we wouldn't have been able to get where we are today without them. So certainly they have contributed substantially, and possibly they've been the right set of team members. And till the time they stayed with us, they contributed more than 100%, and that is what matters. Now, we ourselves cannot guarantee any relationship for lifelong, right? So if somebody chooses to leave after 2 years, we wish them good luck. But till the time that they're together, we really, ensure that we giving them not just a job, but a career. Something that makes them, shape up as a great professional. So like I was saying, while that comes as a challenge, it's also an opportunity, because then they become our brand ambassadors and then they recommend the right people to us. So it always has worked in that favor. Another interesting point that I would like to mention is there are two sides whenever you're running a business. The input side of it, where the team is important, the raw materials, etc. In our case, because we are a strategy consulting company, the team becomes very critical. And the other side, where the clients are very critical. So getting the right set of people who will believe that you can deliver what you're promising and give you business. Again, solution there, we have an awesome network. Having worked for, like Deepa also talked about, she's worked for 25 years. I have worked in corporate world for 15 years. So did Monica. So we already had a fantastic network already built. So people reaching out to those people was not all that difficult. You would be surprised to know that we don't have a sales team. So every business that Eminence does today is through references. So again, problem but challenges, challenges but solutions exist. So so far while they were there, they helped us innovate and do better. So that's been the journey and the message around here.
Sure,
over to you, Deepa.
Thanks, Mithu and Monica. Great insights and great stories there. I don't think I would have become an entrepreneur had my situation not made me think about entrepreneurship. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I had that entrepreneurial bug in me. Like Monica said, that bug is there in everyone in varied degrees, right? So I did have that bug in me, but I also had the comfort of a corporate job, that predictability of, that income that comes at the end of the month, and that comfort was important for me at one point in time. And there was a turning point in my life in 2015-16 where I was forced to take a break. I actually hadn't planned to become an entrepreneur. I was forced to take a break. And sometimes, life puts you in a situation when you really are compelled to think about dimensions of life which you hadn't explored ever, or you hadn't even thought. You always see others do those things, but you never thought that will be applicable to you. So that is a kind of turning point that came in my life in 2016. I took a break, but because of my experience of almost 24, 25 years, it was not easy for me to go back to the corporate, right? If I share some statistics, it will be shocking. I applied for almost 300 jobs, didn't get a single response, right? That made me think, what am I doing? Why is this happening to me, right? I was already 40 plus. So what am I doing here? So that's when I said, no, I was always thinking about being an entrepreneur. So is this a sign that I should actually explore those potentials and those strengths in me, which I had probably, pushed, in the background, and it had carried, it was covered in dust. So I think I was, there was an accident that happened. It was an accidental thing. So if I can use the word accidental entrepreneur, that's what I am. But I don't regret that, because there were a lot of strengths, a lot of things about myself that I was able to explore. And as I shared my knowledge with more and more people, I was able to overcome my own challenges, in entrepreneurship. So I think, like Mithu said, networking is very important in entrepreneurship, because you learn about a lot of things that you may otherwise miss out on, if you are in your own shell. So as an entrepreneur, you are actually exposed. You're completely exposed, and you have to be able to embrace that risk and that exposure. That's when you actually will be able to find your own strength and you also find your own weaknesses, actually, right? In the corporate, we have this tendency to be able to very beautifully manage our weaknesses and, portray our strengths to the best of their abilities. In entrepreneurship, I am my own audience. I am my own performer, right? If I cheat myself of my weaknesses, I'm not cheating anybody. I'm only cheating myself. So I had to confront my own fears, my weaknesses, my demons, and work on them and work on my strengths. And this personal battle has not been easy, but it is worth it, right? So it's been 6 years now since I've been an entrepreneur, and I think I've been able to share a lot. I have learned a lot of things in the corporate that I was able to apply. So I'm not saying, so it was a good pedestal to become an entrepreneur. So I do sometimes, depending on the time, place, and circumstance, I do encourage some of my mentees to consider working in the corporate sometime before jumping into entrepreneurship. Sometimes it helps them realize the value of entrepreneurship, and also, not have those complaints, because like Monica said, there is nothing called as weekends, right? There is no Saturday, Sunday and all. Once you're an entrepreneur, you are on it 24/7, right? So there is no escape from your own, it's your own deliverables, it's your own business, it's your own growth. So if you don't work towards it, it will not happen. So I think the greatest challenge, to summarize, the greatest challenge has been to overcome my own fears and weaknesses and inhibitions, cast them aside, come out of that mold into which a woman is expected to fit, and be able to come, they say, right, break the glass ceiling. So I had to come outside of the dome. I didn't want to break the glass ceiling. I wanted to stand right under the sky. And that was not an easy journey. So I think that has been the greatest challenge, overcoming my own fears and standing up for myself, and being able to actually share this knowledge with others gives me immense satisfaction.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was very well put. Well, considering that all three of you all have worked in corporate before, so you do know that there's a safety net of mentorship at the workplace, and also having 3 years of work experience myself, mentorship is something that I look forward to. So how important do you think is mentorship as a catalyst in your entrepreneurial journeys? Again, we can start off with Monica, ma'am.
Yeah, let's just follow the order.
Yeah, we can follow the order.
I really believe highly in the mentorship model. I also have my personal mentors. And at the same time, I also love to mentor lots of interns. So we do keep looking at interns who can, join in our company. And it's always a great pleasure to see the new ideas which the youth has. And it's amazing, like, they're of course, giving idea is very easy, but execution is the part of it. So whenever any intern comes and sits with me and say, ma'am, I have so many ideas, I always say, let's walk the talk. Let's, just prove yourself and do it and show it, because that is a very critical thing. And I would love to mentor as many more interns we can, have in the future.
Also, Monica, ma'am, we've come to learn that Taapsee Pannu, such a huge celebrity, is on your board. So how does it feel to have such a presence, and how does she contribute to your brand?
I'm very blessed to have a co-founder as Taapsee Pannu. And, in spite of her very hectic schedule, she always makes it a point to be available. We just had an IG live on the Women's Day 2 days back on our portal. And in spite of her flights and shoot and everything, but she never says no to me. So I'm really blessed that way. And just to talk about her business acumen, she's amazing. I am in awe. And she always impresses me. Like, even the whole idea of creating a period pal app was Taapsee's brainchild. Because until then, we were only into creating products for women. For the most, I would say the USP of Lyka is softest pads in the whole country. And but Taapsee came up with this idea that, it is important that we are in constant touch with our consumers through a digital platform. And that's where came the idea of creating a period pal app. So now it's not only about providing the best comfortable products to women for their making periods comfortable. All the more it's about the digital community which we have created. So many women write to us through our app that, these are the things which they are facing problems with. They have a free online consultancy with our doctors on board. They can write to us any issues about their periods. So it's not only about giving one way to the consumer, but it has become an interactive, holistic approach how we actually deal with our consumers. So coming back to Tapsi, yes, I'm very fortunate.
That's nice to hear, ma'am. All right. Meetu, ma'am, if you want to contribute to this question, we can go ahead.
I completely agree with the fact that mentor or having a sounding board is extremely important. Mentors, what they do is also they come with certain set of experience, so they can guide us in a certain manner. Extremely blessed to have a couple of very good mentors. One of my recommendations on this space would be that whenever you are choosing for anyone to be your mentor, it would be a great idea if we can, like Shah Rukh Khan says in Dear Zindagi, right? That you can't have one friend and you expect that you will go for a film also with him or her. You will expect that he or she enjoys music with you, picnic with you, travel with you, all of that, right? Similarly, you can't have one mentor who would guide you or, who can be your sounding board for everything. So sometimes we need a mentor who can help us with our certain personal challenges. Like I'm a mother of a teenager, right? So sometimes you just want to discuss about that. Or sometimes else it's about your business that you want to talk about. Sometimes you need some insights on technology. So it could be different aspects, and you should be looking at having mentors from various fields. That's something important, and fortunately I'm quite blessed to have quite a few of them, and you can leverage upon their strengths from time to time. Similarly, it is important that if someone is reaching out to you to get mentored, if someone wants to be your mentee, don't always make it like a formal relationship. Let it be open. Let the mentee choose you instead of forcing yourself upon her. But have that open mindset that am I going to add any value to her just because I'm older to her, just because I'm more experienced to her, or something like that. Not necessarily I can be a great mentor to her. So maybe we can recommend her to somebody else instead of trying to take everybody in our own wings. So that's a message I wanted to share, that mentors are important. While choosing mentor, be very wise and choose from different fields, and be even while mentoring, have that openness that either they can come under our wings or they should be able to find the right places. Over to
Great,
you,
ma'am.
Deepa.
That was insightful, ma'am. Thank you.
Thanks, Arya. I think we all agree on the fact that mentorship is very important. There's no doubt about it. I myself have had so many mentors, I've lost track of them. Whether it was in the corporate or whether it was in my entrepreneurial journey, I've had many mentors. And like Mitu said, not one mentor, but multiple mentors for different areas. I have had even my teammates and people who are younger to me also having mentored me in many of the areas. So I believe that if a person possesses the subject matter expertise, it doesn't matter what age that person is of, he or she can be your mentor. And like Mitu said, mentor-mentee relationship should be open, and both should have an open mind. And I have seen many times, especially in my corporate life, I have seen this, that when a mentor, so they have, some of the organizations that I work for have this mentor-mentee frameworks. And I have seen, from an interpersonal relationship perspective, when the mentee doesn't take the inputs of the mentor tends to get a little upset, right? Then it becomes a kind of a personal ego. It becomes a battle. It becomes an unspoken battle, right? Mentorship requires a lot of emotional intelligence. It requires a lot of sometimes a spiritual bent of mind as well, right? Where you think that, okay, I have shared my knowledge, but how that person accepts that knowledge and how that person applies that knowledge is definitely up to that person's capability or intent. Right? A mentor can provide the content. The content is as useful as the intent of the mentee. So very critical. I think everyone, young or old, have to find mentors. Even today, even though I teach, I've crossed half of my life, I still have mentors from different parts of the world. I still learn, and I personally believe that learning is something that you can do till the last breath. Learning is an experience that you keep adding to I mean, all your life. So having mentors is very important, and I have seen the reason why I want to stress on this point is that I teach many youngsters, and there is this a different kind of a flavor that I see in the younger generations today. They want to learn it all from the internet. They want to learn it all on their own. My humble, simple message to them is, life is too short to make all the mistakes yourself and learn those lessons. So we can learn from other people's mistakes as well. So do not make too many experiments in your life to learn the tenets of either your corporate life or your entrepreneurial journey. There are a lot of people out there who are willing to share their experience. Learn from them and shorten your learning curve. That's my humble suggestion.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Well, so we've spoken of the challenges that you all faced. So what do you think are some of the must-have skills or some of the skills that you developed on the go, which has helped you in your journey thus far? So we can start again with Monica, ma'am.
Sure, Arya, thanks. See, some of the basic skills which you require for any entrepreneurial journey is being available all the time and be able to multitask. As long as you can prioritize your task, even if you miss few errands in a day, that's fine. But it's important, really important to prioritize. And you should have the tenacity, like whatever may come. I always have this never give up attitude. Jo hoga dekha jayega. Matlab, and there is nothing impossible. We have to give our best, we have to put our best foot forward. And I'm sure with the hard work and passion, and when you're available there for your team, doing all the right things, you will arrive somewhere, maybe if not early, maybe late, but that day will come.
Thank you so much, ma'am. All right. Meeta, ma'am, you can go ahead.
No, I completely agree. Not giving up ever, and also important to know that when to stop trying as well, right? When to cut your losses. There's this book called The Art of Thinking Clearly, and the author Roster very clearly says that, whatever decision you've made, don't get married to your decision. Know when to cut your losses and move on. You can make wrong decisions. So what? Having that ability to know that, okay, fine, this is where I need to, take the turn in another direction is very critical. The second thing I feel is very important is that having your own clarity of thoughts. Because everybody is launching a tech-based product, everybody is launching an app, everybody is just so tech-oriented, and then you feel, what are you doing? That whole fear of missing out comes in. So the tech is just one example. Like this, there are umpteen things happening, and you end up thinking that, oh, what are you doing? So that whole fear of missing out comes in. Why? Have that whole clarity in your own head. What business are you offering, and in your work, in your area of operation? Does that make any sense? And if it does, then you please, by whole heart, go ahead and follow it, and then know when to stop on it if it is not working out. But having that clarity in your head is very critical. Self-introspection is extremely critical. And last point that I want to communicate here is, while you will cut losses, while you will have clarity, despite all that, there will be moments of doubt, there will be moments of there will be failures. Just embrace them, because like a lot of us have heard that saying, right? That there are either you succeed or you learn. There is nothing like failure. It might just sound too bookish, but if you actually start implementing it, it just gives you so much peace of mind. And I think that's one of the critical skills as an entrepreneur, to have that balance in your own head and keep moving.
So thank you so much, ma'am. That was insightful. Deepa ma'am, would you like to add something? Or
Yeah, sure. I think Monica and Mithu have covered a lot of points and the fundamentals of what is required for an entrepreneur. For me personally, see what happens in the corporate is we are so focused on what our KPIs are. We work towards those KPIs, and we are very, very focused on managing our bosses, our reporting managers. Right. So it is, the 70-80% of our efforts goes in managing our KPIs and managing our boss. We hardly do networking actually in the corporates. That is something that I felt the dire need to, improvise on. How do I network with people, networking skills, and, the emotional intelligence part? These are some things that I had to work on for myself to be able to be more effective when I go out and meet customers on my own when I started my entrepreneurial journey. So networking and interpersonal relationship management, I feel, are critical. Unfortunately, educational institutions don't teach these to youngsters, right? There should be skills on how to manage interpersonal relationships. What are corporate dynamics and how do you interact? It's not just about my KPIs and my boss. What about building rapport with the other departments, other teams, right? Because it's human beings. It is people that we are interacting with. These are very critical skills actually, which no institution teaches you actually. You learn it all the hard way many times. And I do feel that for the youngsters, of today's generations, they sorely miss out on these kind of skilling exercises in their regular course of doing their degrees or whatever programs that they do. I think this is something that as mentors, if we are mentoring someone, we can actually challenge and encourage our mentees to actually work on their networking and interpersonal skills. And I was looking at a recent KPMG study, which said that post-COVID, networking and interpersonal skills are going to be super critical because we're all struggling to manage our work, maintain the momentum using virtual, connections. It's not going to be easy. So the way we present ourselves, our authenticity, our vulnerabilities, our credibilities, we have to be willing to lay all those cards on the table. It's not easy. That's why emotional intelligence is important. So I think some of these skills, if anyone is looking out to be an entrepreneur, these are some skills I feel are very important for them to pick up.
So I completely agree with you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Just add one point to Deepa, what she was mentioning about networking. See, most often than not, women fear this whole concept of networking because the concept of networking is so ingrained in our head that it is all about wining and dining and going out for late night parties, and it's not at all about that. Like,
absolutely.
As I said, I have set up a complete network, complete business because of the references. And who are these referees? They're all my ex-colleagues, they are all my ex-clients, and the people with whom I've had some kind of a work relationship. And there's no matter of pride or sadness in it that I choose not to consume alcohol. So I don't do wining and dining on those today. So people may have different choices, and I respect their choices, but I have personally never done so. But still, in my area of work, I'm extremely confident that most of the people with whom I've had any work relationship will certainly remember me. And that's because of one very big differentiator. And I like to call it professional imprint. And I would want to spend 1 minute on this, that I always recommend to my mentees and everybody possible on this earth that whatever you do it so well, even if it means that you're making MIS, right? But do it so well that nobody can do it better than you. Right. Leave your professional imprint on your job, whatever you're working on. And once you do that, whenever anyone is thinking of, oh, I need this MIS to be done, they should be thinking of your name first. I need some marketing campaign to be developed, they should be thinking of your name first. By default, reference will come to you, right? So networking is not only about meeting some 500 people, but networking is about A, staying in touch with people, but B, letting your work speak so much that when they are referring you, they should be confident that you will not let their name go down. Very critical.
Completely
So
agree
true.
with all three of you on this,
Sorry.
because even with respect to COVID times, right? Like when everything went online, no one was even switching on their videos on Zoom calls. So that connect was, disappearing, in fact. So I'm glad that things are going back to offline and we'll get an opportunity to network once again. So, all right. So coming to my next question, what do you think are some of the common misconceptions that people have about women entrepreneurs? And how have you made sure that your workplace is better for women in terms of representation, policies, as well as the inclusivity?
So some misconceptions which people have normally around women entrepreneur is she serious? Will she be able to will she be able to sustain? There's so much pressure. Is she ready for it? What about her home and office juggling? Will she give up very soon the moment the family starts complaining? So these are some, very normal concerns which comes to anybody's mind. Now, I would say that it's all in your mindset. If you want, you can do everything. You can perfectly juggle between home and work. You can perfectly decide what to do when. It may happen. Some women prefer to do work first and then look at family, and designate time periods. That probably after 7 I'll look at my work. Look at my family. But that can't happen in a entrepreneurial journey.
Yes.
Journey, you have to take both hand in hand. If I'm in a meeting and my child calls me, I'll have to pick it up because I can't say I'm in a meeting. And similarly, if I'm sitting with my family and somebody in my team calls me up, I have to answer because there could be some emergency. So as long as women entrepreneurs can handle both hand in hand, and they handle it very well. There's nothing that they cannot manage. So I think all these inhibitions, they are just a fallacy, and I think we all have to prove them wrong, that yes, we can all manage. Coming to how we have our women workforce in our office, I actually have created a culture in the office where each female feels very valued, respected, and feels very comfortable. And there's a deep respect for each woman that work that she does and brings to the table, whatever the role may be. We have women workforce across various departments. It's very important that they feel connected with each other. It's not only about the work or the job you're doing. It's about the passion. We call ourselves as like a family here. And whether it is festivals, small events, whatever, we try to celebrate all together so that we can feel, and we really missed each other during COVID times. Whether it was taking leaves during periods, pregnancy, extended maternity leave, where the women could handle, new young moms could handle their babies along with the work pressures. Whatever it is, we have been until now customizing all our roles around women as per their requirements. People who stay far, they could leave the office early. People who want to come in late, it's fine. So all you have to give that flexibility to women to feel connected and feel appreciated, and only then you can have their value and respect, and then they'll be like a family to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. All right, Neetu, ma'am, you can go ahead.
So when it comes to misconceptions about women entrepreneurs, I think it's applicable to both women entrepreneurs or women professionals per se. That people, like Monica mentioned, that people always have this doubt about how are you going to balance the two worlds. However, people are forgetting that it's not about balancing the two worlds, it's about integrating the two worlds. And the two worlds are highly integrated. So your ability to thrive within that integrated world is very important, while ensuring that you find the balance within. If you're balanced inside, you don't need to find a balance in your work life or anywhere. Balance simply comes in. But it's a misconception where people ask you, when I got interviewed for the first time way back after I finished my college, and it was a regular question that would come: A, when do you plan to get married? And when I was married, then the next question later on when I was doing my interviews: when do you plan to have your child? So as if I have to seek their permission, right? But it's a question that comes, and it comes. I ensure that I don't do this, but so at least we can break the chain. But that's the conception that comes with any women professional, and honestly, important for us to kind of keep moving with it and break the chain, so that next we won't ask such questions, or we won't let people around us ask these questions. Talking about what we do at our organization for women, you will be excited to know that more than 60% of our workforce is women. But important for me to highlight that it is not by design. It is absolutely by default. That women, merit applied and merit got selected. And that's the culture we are building in an organization, that it is not about the gender, it is about the merit. If you're talented, if you have the right merit, you would grow irrespective of your gender. And let me also share, and I'm quite sure most of the male candidates or male participants would agree that the balance is required even in their lives, right? Even they need time off, even they need to take care of the family, they need to participate in their child's parent teacher meeting, all of that. It's just that we are societally that they are conditioned that only women who do that. But if given the flexibility, everybody loves to do. So the organization, the way we have made the organization, is gender agnostic. There is no policy favoring women or favoring men. Men want flexibility, they can take it. They want to take parents to doctor, they can take it. They want to go for a PTM, they can go for it. And so can women. And that has really helped us, I think, in building a gender agnostic world. And that's very, very important. That at office and also at work, also at home, we create a gender agnostic world. So I have a son and a daughter, and both of them equally participate in everything possible, whatever a human being is supposed to participate in, again, irrespective of the gender.
Thank you, ma'am. That was very well said. Deepa, ma'am, you can go ahead.
Yeah, this is a great topic, actually, Arya, and I agree with Neetu that first of all, I think to clear any kind of misconceptions that are there about women and women entrepreneurship, the way we raise our kids and the kind of values that we inculcate, in them is very important. Maybe there were some historics wrong that were done, but it doesn't mean we need to carry them forward, right? And I agree that we need to focus in workplaces on merit rather than on gender, because for me, I know we celebrate Women's Day on March 8th every year, but I feel the justice or the framework for growth and development and sustenance should be a year-round kind of an exercise, which can, yes, we can celebrate it on March 8th, but the effort has to be an all year round kind of effort, right? That's one. I think the main challenge that I have seen women professionals or women women entrepreneurs face is that they have to speak twice as much, put efforts twice as much to be heard. As much as I don't like to say this, but it's a fact. Let's face the fact that I have to work twice as hard to be able to get the same kind of an opportunity as my male colleague. We have done a lot of work around women empowerment, etc., but I think we still have a long way to go, right? Especially I have seen in organizations that are focused on the STEM fields, right? Very few women choose the STEM careers. And in many of these organizations where I have, done mentorship programs, which are focused on STEM, products and services, there the opportunity for women is, like, for example, if a woman wants to be the lead architect, she should be given the first right of refusal, saying, oh, no, I can't do this. But if she's capable of that role, she should be given that opportunity. But for the woman to ask for that role, she hesitates a lot. So one challenge that I've seen women struggle with is they're very, very shy of, doing personal branding exercises, right? Women shy away and hesitate to speak up for themselves and brand themselves wherever they work, whether it's the corporate world or whether it's in the entrepreneurial space. So I think women should be more bold, come out and speak for themselves, because if they don't speak for themselves, nobody can speak for them actually, right? At the end of the day. So, and of course, networking is very, very important. So I think, women are capable of a lot of things only if they can actually speak up, focus on personal branding. I think a lot of these misconceptions and myths that are there can get cleared up. In my organization, we are 100% women, workforce. Again, it's not by design, or it's not that we made a specific gender women drive or something. It's just the nature of the job in our organization attracts more women. Right. So both my businesses, it's 100% women driven. In my second business, which is, artisanal food products business that I run along with my daughter. My daughter is the co-founder of that organization. We actually have created a network where we empower women, smaller women entrepreneurs, to be able to speak up for their brands on our platform. Right. So it's the way the business is designed, which has made the entire exercise women centric. But I'm very happy if any man wants to be a part of this. Right? I'm very happy, because for me personally, I believe that women empowerment cannot happen without men cooperating. Okay. Just like men cannot also succeed if the woman in his life is not cooperating with him. Right? We also need men to be successful in our lives. I think it is a era of not competition, but I think it should be an era of cooperation and codependence. So I think that's the transition that we should start seeing and also inculcating in our future generations.
Sure. Thank you so much, ma'am. Hopefully we'll get there soon. I think there are about 12 minutes left. So we'll take a few questions from the audience. There's one question that's come up. It says, how important is an MBA if someone's aspiring to become an entrepreneur?
Okay, I'll go first. See, the knowledge which you get from a curriculum cannot be, replaced by something else for sure, because we really have to respect for someone who spends that much time, attending the classroom sessions. But is that really 100% requirement? Probably no. What you learn from your experience and what you do with hands-on experience is something which probably is fantastic. My son often tells me, can I drop out from the college and start my startup? He's first year in due. But I tell him, no, education has its own importance. Why don't you first, complete that and then get onto it? So anybody who's aspiring to do an MBA, I would not say that, if you really have it in you, you can dedicate your 2 years for that. Please go ahead, because it will definitely help you. But if you have an urge to just begin an entrepreneurship journey, probably if you feel the time has come, then probably just go ahead and just do it. That's my take.
Great, ma'am. Thank you so much. We'll move on to the next question. So how did you sustain during COVID with respect to sales in products or in general with respect to services as well? So did you face a hit and how bad was it and how did you come back?
I'll take that. I'd like to share some experience of mine. COVID, of course, did impact us like any other business. I think consultants got away with it a little bit more than the other businesses because somehow consulting works pretty well on the online mode. It was not as good as the pre-COVID times, but it did sustain. We were able to sustain it. But the other parts of the business, in terms of the development that we do, the technology development that we were doing, etc., that did take a hit because, when the first wave of COVID started, there was so much of panic. A lot of people actually wanted to go back to their hometowns. So a lot of teams started disintegrating and people moved out. And though they were committed to work from their hometowns, there were a lot of technological challenges, bandwidth, simple issues like bandwidth, the call getting disconnected. So there were a lot of challenges and the productivity was definitely impacted. The time to market was impacted. The production was impacted. But I think somewhere we all knew, and in India, we have this innate philosophical bent of mind that this too shall pass. And if we are doing well, health is more important. If we are healthy and if we are alive, we can do whatever it takes for us to go to the next level of success. So I think these kind of this was unprecedented, right? COVID was unprecedented time. We all struggled. None of us had an experience of this, of going through this kind of a pandemic and lockdowns and all that. It was a new experience for all of us, but we all got through it, right? Yes, there were ups and downs, but we got through it. I think what really worked for us is that we didn't let go of the support and the moral, strength that we gave each other as a team, that we didn't let go. We saw each other through the difficult times. I think that is important, and that is beyond an organizational framework. That is, for me, a human framework. So if we get that right, I think organizations will thrive.
Arya, if I could just add here.
Definitely.
For us, it was a little different. We had unprecedented growth in the last 2 years, rather last 2.5 years, as against, because earlier we were also still settling in, but last 2 years, I feel we cemented our positioning. And just 2-3 thoughts I wanted to talk about. When lockdown was announced, we declared work from home even before the lockdown was announced. And hand on my heart, I was a little uncomfortable about it because we come from a world which is very in-person, very physical interaction, conversation, right? So I was quite, unsettled about the fact that how will my team work? Will they really be working 8 hours? How will I monitor all that? And I'm accepting it publicly that I did have those apprehensions. Fortunately, we had laptops, so it was very easy to start working from home immediately. So we did that. Like I keep saying that it's very important to have a blessed set of people around you. Within months, rather within weeks, my apprehension just diluted because the way teams stood up for the occasion and the way they, delivered without any breakage in the quality. I think that was phenomenal, and I really truly thank my team for being around with me all through. Secondly, the way the clients stood up, right? Nobody, fortunately in our case, except one client, nobody chose to either even reduce the fee, let alone stopping the services. So then we realized, then if clients are not disturbing us, why should we disturb our employees? And hence, not even a single day delay in salary or not even a single rupee was deducted all through the 2 years, just because people used a lot of excuse that, oh, COVID hai to kaat lo. None of that was done. Instead, our team grew substantially in this space because we were getting good talent available. So might as well then onboard them. So that's the difference an entrepreneur needs to have. A, the resilience that which too shall pass. And secondly, use that opportunity and build a system so that when the world comes back to normalcy, you're not just ready, you're more than prepared to take on the new opportunities and grow further. So it really happened with us that way. Our businesses grew and our team strength grew. And the point that Deepa has been talking about, networking, get in touch with the people, even during the time when because virtually everybody was connected, so it helped us meet more people and meet more people outside Mumbai, right? So that helped us expand our markets, and we could actually cater to people even outside India. So that's the kind of opportunity we managed to get, and that's the message I would like to leave behind, that don't get petrified, or don't get kind of bogged down by the challenges life throws at you. Look for opportunities and grow within that.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was definitely a different perspective to the whole COVID scenario. Well, we have one last question for Monica, ma'am. So very recently, Flipkart announced the period leave, and there are other companies that are following suit as well. So what is your stance on giving women 1 day of leave a month for periods?
I'm very happy when Flipkart announced this period policy, and according to me, each and every company should follow this norm. I'm personally very much in favor of it. But I just wanted to add here something. It should not become like a government has to make it mandatory, because what will happen is that sometimes companies may not want to hire women, thinking that it's too attendance.
True.
As long as you really company really feels for their women force, and they're doing it out of compassion, and it's fantastic. I'm so glad that we are moving. The mindset of the society is progressing. We are moving from where women on periods were not allowed to enter religious places, were considered impure, to somewhere where now openly people are announcing, if you're on your periods, hey, you have a choice, you have an option to sit back and relax. So I'm very glad, and this actually is an applause to our society.
Yes, ma'am. All right. So any parting message that you'd like to share with the budding women entrepreneurs, and then we can wrap up this session?
I'll just say, don't think much. There is never the right time. Just start, and just you will be doing great and fantastic. Just have the willpower and the tenacity to just take whatever comes your way. That's my message.
I would like to add, Arya, that one message is that entrepreneurship is risk, right? You should be willing to take that risk, because, hey, you know what? Even staying in the corporate for too long and, losing the opportunity to grow and flattening of the curve is also a risk. You don't know what's going to happen, right? Life, there is risk on both sides. So entrepreneurship is risk management. You have to manage those risks. You should be willing to take that risk. There are loads of rewards as well, right? Get that mentor, get the mentoring done so that you learn from other people's mistakes and don't have to repeat those mistakes. So these are my two messages.
Sure. Thank you so much, ma'am. I think Neetu ma'am just joined back. Neetu ma'am, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you now. I'm sorry, I think the break in between.
Yeah, no worries. Ma'am, we're just waiting for your parting message.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I didn't hear
No
that.
problem. No problem.
So first and foremost, I think it was a pleasure meeting Monica and Deepa on this panel, because like-minded people are something new, and new network. We have expanded our network. And I would also like to congratulate you, Arya, for doing something which is so unique and different. And I'm quite sure that in your career, you will really go places. For the listeners, I want to leave behind just one important message, that it's not just about the gender. Challenges come in everybody's life, whether male or female. Important is to look for opportunities within those challenges. And, there is no looking back. There is nothing that can stop you if that conviction is coming from within. So stay tuned. All of us will do well. Something special stored for all of us somewhere.
Thank you so much, ma'am. This has been inspiring, not just for me, but I'm sure for everyone who's attended this webinar, for men as well, young and old. Well, all of you all have been in these tough situations, broken the glass ceiling, or gotten out of the dome, as Deepa ma'am mentioned, and how. So glad that you could take the time out and share your journeys with us today. Thank you so much, and have a nice day.
Thanks, Arya. Thanks to Inside IIM as well. Take care. Bye.
Thanks.
Sure. Ma'am, you'll just have to leave the meeting once the session ends.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.